Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. If Cornell University's projections hold true, New York could lose as many as 2.7 million residents by 2050. That's New York State, not New York City. Well, although obviously it includes New York City. That staggering figure represents a major demographic shift for a state that has long been considered the nation's cultural and economic powerhouse. Let's dig into what's behind this potential exodus and what it means for New Yorkers. The researchers attribute this potential loss to three key factors: declining birth rates, an aging population, and, most prominently, out-migration. Over the last few years, New York has consistently led the nation in population decline. Since 2020, over 630,000 residents have left the state, and more than 100,000 of them have exited between July of 2022 and July of 2023 alone. These trends have been particularly damaging for smaller cities and upstate communities, many of which have been hollowed out over decades. What's driving this? The absurdly high cost of living. The absurdly high cost of living in New York is at the heart of this. Whether it's soaring rents, eye-popping property taxes, or the unrelenting costs of running a business, affordability is pushing people out in droves. And while affordability is a national issue, it's particularly pronounced here, where taxes are among the highest in the nation. Add to that a regulatory environment that businesses often describe as hostile, and you've got a recipe for outmigration, not just of individuals, but also major employers. Let's consider some high-profile examples. Remington Arms, a mainstay in Herkimer County, recently moved its operations to Georgia, citing the state's burdensome business climate. This week, tire manufacturer Sumitomo abruptly shuttered its North American plant in Erie County, leaving over 1,500 workers without jobs. These aren't just anecdotes. They're symptoms of a larger problem. Now, some policymakers have touted the creation of new jobs, like the ones expected from Micron's semiconductor plant in Syracuse, as a way to reverse this trend. But job creation alone may not be enough to combat the forces driving people away. Remote work, for instance, allows many people to take their New York salaries to states with lower costs of living and better quality of life. On the flip side, migration into New York, particularly by immigrants, has helped offset some losses. But even that's a complicated fix, as it requires policies and resources to support these newcomers. The bottom line is this: if New York doesn't address its affordability crisis, the consequences will be dire. Fewer residents mean fewer tax dollars to fund infrastructure, public services, and the very social safety nets that keep communities afloat.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Well, Saturday marked the official start of the Clean Slate Act, a law that was signed last year and which took effect on Saturday. And I think it stands as a beacon of hope and practicality for our state. This law is a response to two critical issues on everyone's minds: economic insecurity and public safety. Let's face it, New Yorkers are under tremendous strain. Rising housing costs, exorbitant child care expenses, and inflation are pushing many of us to the brink. This financial strain doesn't just fray family budgets, as I can tell you firsthand. It erodes our communities, contributing to crime and mental health challenges that leave everyone feeling less secure. The Clean Slate Act offers a way to address these challenges by unlocking opportunities for millions of our neighbors who've already paid their debts to society. We have a lot of listeners in prison right now. I would love for them to think that when they get out of prison and they complete their parole, they can have a clean slate. Here's how it works. The law creates an automatic process to seal certain criminal records, excluding serious felonies and sex offenses, for individuals who've served their time and stayed out of trouble. Misdemeanors can be sealed after 3 years, while more serious crimes require up to 8 years of clean conduct. Importantly, these records remain accessible to law enforcement and employers hiring for sensitive roles. That ensures public safety while giving New Yorkers a second chance. Why does this matter? Consider this. Barriers to employment and housing for formerly incarcerated people cost New York's economy up to $12.6 billion annually in lost wages. These barriers also disproportionately affect a lot of communities of color, and that widens the racial wealth gap. And by sealing records for those who've proven their commitment to rehabilitation, Clean Slate doesn't just help individuals, it fuels economic growth. Businesses, too, stand to benefit. Employers gain access to a motivated workforce, eager to contribute. Those new employees will spend their paychecks locally, boosting our tax base and revitalizing neighborhoods. It's a win-win. Public safety improves as well. Data from Michigan, a state with similar laws, shows that people with sealed records are more likely to find employment, earn higher wages, and have lower rates of reoffending. Opportunity is a powerful antidote to crime, and the Clean Slate Act creates a pathway to stability for those who are ready to build better lives.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
You know, there's something oddly amusing about State Senator Gustavo Rivera of the Bronx, a man with no healthcare experience, throwing stones at RFK Jr.'s nomination as Secretary of Health and Human Services. Rivera, who currently chairs the Senate's Health Committee, recently urged his colleagues to vote down RFK Jr.'s nomination. Well, not his colleagues, but he urged the members of the U.S. Senate to vote down RFK Jr.'s nomination, launching a scathing attack on the man's credentials. You could see it on Twitter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he basically said, "I stand in firm opposition against the dangerous and careless nomination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr." He goes on and on, anti-science, yada, 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 prioritize science, prioritize facts, prioritize the well-being of our children, so on and so forth. This is ridiculous. When you stop and think about it, the senator's criticism is like a movie critic who's never seen a film calling Spielberg overrated. Before his time in the Senate, Rivera was a political staffer, a job he didn't leave on the best of terms. He got fired. Now he sits atop one of the Senate's most important healthcare policy roles, guiding decisions that affect millions of New Yorkers without a day of medical training or experience running a healthcare organization. If we're assessing qualifications, this might be a classic case of the pot calling the kettle underqualified. Let's not forget RFK Jr. is an environmental lawyer and an activist with decades of experience advocating for public health and environmental safety. You can debate his positions, and there's no shortage of debate about his views on vaccines, of course, but questioning whether he's qualified for the role, especially when it's coming from Senator Rivera, that's rich. Sure, Rivera's entitled to his opinion, just as I am, just as you are, but should his views on RFK Jr. carry much weight? In fairness, the senator's healthcare leadership has been questioned by many. Critics argue that his lack of expertise hasn't exactly inspired confidence in tackling New York's complicated healthcare challenges. It's fair to wonder whether the chair of a state health committee should, at the very least, have some professional experience in the field they oversee. Senator Rivera's statement might play well in some political circles, but let's be real. If credentials are what mattered most, he might want to sit this one out. It's one thing to critique someone's record. It's another to do it from a shaky perch of your own.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree?
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet?
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
The way we elect judges in New York City is completely broken, and a recent investigation by New York Focus sheds light on just how deeply political consultants have infiltrated the process. Since 2021, nearly half of all campaign spending for winning Bronx civil court candidates has gone directly to two political firms with close ties to the Bronx Democratic Party chair, Jamal Bailey. These firms, London House and Collado Consultants, have collected over $170,000 from candidates seeking the coveted $214,000 a year judicial seat. This raises serious concerns about a pay-to-play culture in Bronx judicial elections where local political machines seem to be calling all the shots. The consultants behind these firms are not just anyone. They're longtime allies of Bailey, including Jason Laidley, Bailey's former campaign manager and chief of staff. In fact, Laidley's firm, London House, has raked in nearly $150,000 in just a few years. But what's troubling is not just the money, it's the pattern of candidates being steered towards these firms, which many argue is tantamount to buying a judicial seat. Since 2021, candidates who paid these firms won nearly every civil court seat in the Bronx, despite the fact that many of these elections weren't competitive. No primaries were even held in recent years. Even more concerning is the fact that some candidates, after paying these firms, received not approved ratings from the New York City Bar Association, yet were deemed qualified by Chairman Bailey's party. This raises red flags about the integrity of the party's judicial screening process and its supposed impartiality. The system is utterly broken. We should not have a system where political connections and big money consultants have such outsized influence over the selection of our judges. The entire process needs to be reformed so that merit and fairness, not political loyalty and campaign donations, are the deciding factors in judicial elections. To be clear, this isn't just a Bronx problem. It's a systemic issue across New York City. From Manhattan to Queens, party leaders are selecting favored candidates and funneling them money for consulting fees. This creates a cycle of political patronage that undermines the legitimacy of our judicial system. We need transparency, accountability, and a fairer process. Voters deserve more than a rigged system where political insiders hold all the power. The way we elect judges in this city and state needs to change. New York Focus did an excellent job exposing this problem, and it's time for us to demand reform. I'm going to share this article on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Morano fan. It's a serious issue. It's time for a major overhaul in how we select our judges. It's not just about fairness. It's about restoring trust in our judicial system.
Beam me up.
To be continued.